You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, Days fans. We got to talk about Maggie Horton Kiriakis and the day of reckoning she is planning for creepy Konstantin Meleounis. I personally am going to be so happy to see the end of this storyline. I do like John Kapelos in general as an actor, but I find this character of Konstantin endlessly annoying. So let's talk about how Maggie blows him out of the water on their big day and why his walk down the aisle turns into a walk of shame. But before we dive in, please click subscribe if you haven't. All right, so we've got some really fun spoilers for this Maggie and Konstantin marital drama. Right now, Maggie feels kind of obligated to marry Kon to help him stay in the U.S. because Victor Kiriakis did him dirty back in the day. And there's the fact that John Black supposedly shot his daughter Katerina. That remains to be seen if that's true or not. But Maggie feels bad for all these reasons. And then last week, we saw Konstantin pull out the pawn card, and John got this really constipated look on his face that I guess indicates brainwashing or a sudden need for the toilet. I can't tell. And he asked him, "What do you need me to do?" Kon ordered him to break into the safe, steal the prenup. I mean, that to me seems thin anyway. Wouldn't Maggie double check it before the wedding or get it out of there to send it off to her lawyer? Bear in mind, people, we are not watching Ron Carlivati's writing. We are watching replacement writers writing. Ron doesn't have a strong opinion, doesn't have a good opinion of it. My opinion of it is kind of strong that I'm not loving it either. It's very hit and miss. That's what I feel like. So anyway, it seems like Maggie would notice the prenup was gone and just make him sign another one. Konstantin feels very triumphant now that he has the prenup in his hand. He has plans, I'm sure, to trash it or burn it so he can marry Maggie and take all her money that he feels Victor owes to him. But then Kon gets more upsetting news as they're planning their wedding. Maggie tells the family that Victor's will has been probated. If you don't know what that means, it means his estate has gone through the court. The judge has determined everything is good with it. It's settled, and distribution of all the inheritance to his heirs can happen. And Maggie's got very interesting plans for her pile of cash that she got in the will. Maggie tells her fiance Kon and Sarah and Xander that she's going to give her inheritance to people who weren't in the will but are still Kiriakis family members. Konstantin is not happy with this at all because he is picturing all that cash in his bank account. So he's annoyed by her announcement, and Maggie can tell he's annoyed, but she's actually not concerned about it or really impressed. Konstantin is not a Kiriakis. He's not part of the family. Their marriage, in her mind, is just to help him get his visa back, and that's her paying back the debt she thinks Victor owes. So when this discussion about the inheritance goes on, Konstantin actually raises his voice to her about her plan to dole out funds to Victor's other sons. I'm assuming Bo Brady and Philip Kiriakis are two that she's planning on giving money to. And, maybe they were left out of the will for whatever reason. Even after the visible outrage that he shows, Maggie is still willing to go through with the wedding. That's according to official day spoilers. So basically, Maggie feels sympathy for Kon over the loss of his daughter and for the bad things Victor allegedly did. She also likes having a companion in her life, somebody who can share memories of Victor, her beloved Victor's early days. But it looks like Konstantin, on his part, feels nothing but greed and opportunity when he looks at Maggie, not any sort of affection. Don't forget, Konstantin also has a backup gold digger plan. He has Teresa Donovan targeting Alex Kiriakis with plans to force her to hand over some of that money, if she can get her hands on it, to him, right? He's holding the secret that they faked the will to cheat Xander Cook and give the money and power to Alex Kiriakis instead over her head to make her press on with the plan, which isn't really a hardship because Teresa does actually have the hots for him. But while Kon is over conspiring with Teresa, Maggie is about to get into a little conspiracy of her own. It turns out, in a huge twist, John was not doing Konstantin's bidding as the pawn. He was faking faking that Con had control over him. So now Steve, Marlena, and John all know that Konstantin is planning to steal Maggie's money. There's no other reason to destroy the prenup. And of course, they want to shut him down. So after cooking up a plan to expose him, they go see Maggie Horton to fill her in on what they found out. And Maggie is absolutely stunned to hear that her friend's worst fears were absolutely true. Before, if you remember, when John, Steve, and Marlena warned her off about him, she thought they were kind of being overcautious, maybe even paranoid. But now Maggie knows they were right, and she has been terribly misled and conned by this man that she trusted and let into her home. They tell her Konstantin has been planning to use John's brainwashed resources to bilk her out of her money and also to get revenge. And it also makes clear that Con was lying about forgiving Steve or John. He has been doing, in fact, lots and lots of lying ever since he came to Salem. But with the hard truth shoved into her face, Maggie's floored. She's very hurt. She's also furious that he's got that pawn card and keeps using it, that he stole the prenup, and that his plan all along was to steal her inheritance. So when it's all out, Maggie is on fire. She's furious. In the promo, there's this little scene where she tells her friends that Konstantin messed with the wrong redhead. You know that saying, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and boy, is Maggie scorned. She thinks Konstantin has used and disrespected her, and more importantly, disrespected the memory of her beloved Victor, according to official spoilers. She knows Victor was no saint, but she saw him evolve and grow over the years that they were together, so she is not going to have this. Maggie's out for epic payback. She plans to serve revenge, not cold, but piping hot at the wedding. She wants to hit him with bombshells, a strike to inspire shock and awe as she devastates him in front of the whole crowd at their wedding. Maggie's out for blood, not literally, but emotionally. And I'm betting that getting deported is going to be the least of the consequences that Konstantin soon faces. So he's feeling very smug. Everything's going the way that he wants. So Con chats up Maggie's daughter, Sarah Horton, to schmooze with her. He's very certain he's going to be her stepdaddy, at least for a minute, before he tries to take off out of the country, I'm assuming with all the money. And of course, Sarah and Xander are not very keen on this marriage, and Xander is adamantly against it. So I have to suspect Maggie may play her cards close to the vest, and maybe just her, Marlena, John, and Steve know the plan. I hope it goes that way, so everybody else at the wedding is absolutely gasping when Maggie takes aim and blows Konstantin out of the water. I cannot wait. According to the official spoilers, Ms. Maggie tells her con man fiance, this is going to be an event to remember. I cannot wait to see the madness and mess of this wedding. You guys know how Days of Our Lives loves to do dastardly things at weddings. So there are spoilers for next week on Thursday, May 16th, saying John and Marlena worry about Konstantin's reaction to Maggie's plan to give away most of her inheritance. So those spoilers about the will and the inheritance, looks like part of that comes next week. That's about the only spoiler for next week related to the upcoming nuptials of Maggie and Konstantin. And that makes me assume that this wedding that's going to blow up in his face comes in the last day or two of sweeps. May sweeps ends Wednesday, May 22nd. So I anticipate the wedding being one of the last events before sweeps shuts down. And then I hope we see Konstantin's miserable, angry, dumped self packed back off to Greece, hopefully without a dime in his pocket. We'll see how it goes. Drop your comments on what you're hoping to see. Subscribe if you haven't. Come back soon. We are here talking Days of Our Lives 7 days a week. And as always, it's Belinda from Soap Dirt.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.